Hello and welcome back to the channel, where today I will be sharing with you my predictions for the 2022-23 Premier League season. Ideally, I would be doing this video right before the season starts, but unfortunately I can't film then because I'm going on holiday, so instead we're doing it today. However, that does still mean that things could change in the next few weeks with transfers that might alter some of my predictions, so bear that in mind. I think I've kind of gone for logic, but then at the same time, some of them are just purely gut instincts where I think this team will finish. Remember though, this is just my opinion. It's completely okay if you disagree with me. I'm expecting you to disagree with me. I'm also expecting that I've probably got most of these completely wrong. But without further ado, let's get started with 20th place, where I have gone for newly promoted side Fulham. I think they will finish in 20th place. They were the top team. They finished first in the championship last season. First team to get promoted, no playoffs needed. However, they are very much known for doing that kind of up and down thing, yo-yo team. So I feel like they're like almost certain to get relegated, and because of that, I've just put them in 20th because I feel like there's just no doubt about it that they're going to get relegated in my mind. Could be wrong, but that's just what I think. And also because they have lost a key player as well in Fabio Carvalho, who's actually moved to Liverpool, the team I support. And he was really good for them last season, so that will be a major loss, which is another reason I think that they will probably finish in 20th place. Anyway, next up, on to 19th place, where I've gone for another newly promoted team, Bournemouth, this time. And this is kind of just because I just don't think the squad has what it takes to make it in the Premier League, to be honest. Like, they just haven't done much, like, significant, like, business. I know they've done a few things, but I just think it's not a good enough squad to stay up. Next up, 18th place, the last relegated side, and I haven't gone for the last newly promoted side. This time I have gone for Southampton to get relegated. Now this is an interesting one. I'm sure there'll be some of you that disagree with me here, but I just think, like, you could see last season, like, that their squad isn't great, is it? And, like, without James Ward-Prowse, they've still got him, but if he were to leave, then I feel like they'd be certainly done for, and even with him, they could still very much get relegated. I feel like they're probably one of the weakest teams in the Premier League at the moment. So that's why I think they're going to go down. Next up, in 17th place, we have Leeds United. So this is the same position that they finished in last season, and I think, again, they'll have a similar season to last, to be honest, battling relegation. However, I do think that they will just survive. I think there probably won't be much improvement on last season, and this is especially because they are losing two really key players for them in Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, who have both left the club. Rafinha going to Barcelona and Calvin Phillips going to Man City. These are two vital players, so without them, I think they will struggle, but I think they will just survive in 17th place. Next up, in 16th place, I've gone for Brentford. I think Brentford, well, last season they finished 13th, but I think they will this season drop off a little bit of second season syndrome. I think during the course of the season they will be involved in a relegation fight, but I do think they will survive in the end, not too closely as well. Especially with Christian Eriksen leaving them and going to Manchester United, because you really saw when he joined them, you saw that creativity in the midfield, you saw that flow in the team. It really was it was helping them a lot. Christian Eriksen was. So I think without him, they will struggle a lot more as well, and they'll struggle to find that creativity. So that's why I think they will finish in 16th place. Next up, in 15th, I've gone for the newly promoted side Nottingham Forest. Now this is an interesting one. I think every year there seems to always be at least one of the newly promoted teams that does a little bit better than the other two, stays up, overperforms a little bit, and does good. So I think this year it will be Nottingham Forest, and I'm kind of backing them to stay up as well. Out of all the three teams, I think they're the ones I'd most be like, yeah, cool, go and have a good season. I think their business has been the best of the three newly promoted sides. They've brought in they've brought in quite a lot of people actually, but one of the players they've brought in is Nico Williams from Liverpool. Obviously that's the one I mentioned because I support the team, so I just know a lot more about that. And they've actually sold a lot of people or let go a lot of people as well, but I think I just have a feeling that they'll stay up and they'll have a good first season back in the Premier League. Next up, we have 14th place, and this one might surprise a few of you. I've gone for Wolves, Wolverhampton Wanderers. I think they're going to have a disappointing season by their standard over the past few years. This is just because I think their form towards the end of last season wasn't great, and I think I just feel like they're going to have like a drop-off season, and then they might start to go back up. Last season they finished in 10th, but I think they'll drop down to 14th this season. They've lost players like Saiss and Fabio Silva, Fabio Silva wasn't really playing much for them anyway, but they have got in Hwang Hee-chan, who hasn't been great for them, but they'll hope that he can improve. But yeah, I just think it'll be a 14th place for them, a little bit of a drop-off. Next up, in 13th place, I've gone for Everton. Everton are a team that struggled a lot last season. They had a really bad season, and they ended up in 16th by the end of last season. So I think this season I think it will be kind of a gradual rebuild for them, but I think they will jump up a few places this time, and they will finish in 13th. I think that's not even to do with the squad. I think it's just to do with just the natural way football happens. So I think, they will go up a little bit. In terms of their transfer business, they have brought in Tarkowski from Burnley, and they have lost Richarlison to Tottenham, but I think they'll manage without him, to be honest. I think they'll probably make a few more signings, or they'll get some people from the academy to step up. So yeah, I'm predicting a 13th place finish for them. Next up, in 12th place, I think this one will surprise absolutely no one. I think this team is just made for 12th place, 13th place, that kind of area. They're just there every single season, and that is Crystal Palace. Yeah, I think Crystal Palace have a good squad. I like their squad. I think they have potential to do really well, but I don't see them really breaking into that, into the upper half of the table. But I think 12th place is just where they're going to be, most seasons. In terms of their transfer business, they've brought in players like Doucouré and Sam Johnston from West Brom. And they haven't had anyone major leaving them as well. So I think it's going to look good for them with Vieira as their manager. I think he'll do a good job in his second season as their manager. On to 11th place now, and I have gone for Steven Gerrard's Aston Villa. I think that, so last season they finished in 14th, and I think that this is now Gerrard's first full season as manager, first time he can really give it a go. He can make the transfers he wants to make. He has made transfers as well. He's brought in the likes of Coutinho permanently from Barcelona, and he's signed also the centre-back Diego Carlos, who I think will fit them really nicely and will be a great player for them. They've sold players like Target and Trezeguet, but I don't really think they were particularly needed at the club, to be honest. So yeah, I think they'll do better than they did last season. They'll start building, and I think they'll have a good season, and they'll finish in 11th. On to 10th place now. We're entering the top half of the table. Exciting. So now I've gone for Brighton and Hove Albion is my 10th place spot. They finished 9th last season, so I think it will be a very similar season as last for them, to be honest. With Graham Potter, he knows what he's doing. He's really good as the Brighton manager. I think they'll drop one place, but again, I think they'll have an all-round good season. In terms of transfers, they have lost Bissouma to Tottenham, obviously. So that will be a loss for them in the midfield, but I feel like they'll be able to cover for it. So yeah, I think it will be a good season, good Brighton season, and we'll finish in 10th place. So next we have our 9th place team, and I have gone for Newcastle. And I think we're all kind of expecting Newcastle to be on the up, to be rising season per season, getting higher and higher with their owners, obviously. They've got a lot of money to spend. And I think they will just be working their way up. Last season they finished in 11th. This season I've predicted them 2 places higher to 9th. In terms of transfer business, they've brought in Nick Pope from Burnley and also Target from Aston Villa. They've also brought in the centre-back Sven Botman, who was linked with Liverpool, I think, maybe 2 years ago. But we didn't get him, but now they've got him. I think he'll be a good centre-back for them as well. So, yeah, 3 good signings, and I'm sure there'll be more. Yeah, 9th place for Newcastle. So now on to 8th place. We're getting juicier now. We're getting into the top teams. I've gone for West Ham. I know some West Ham fans might be a little bit disappointed at that. However, I do think they will drop from 7th to 8th and miss out on the Conference League spot this season. I think that's partly because they will be focusing on the Conference League a lot and be making sure they get to the further stages than that. And I think they have a big chance of winning that competition. But I do think that means their league form might drop off a little bit. In terms of transfers, they have lost Mark Noble, obviously we all have known about for ages, and they've also lost Yarmolenko, and that's two good players for them that they've lost. But so I do think overall they will drop off just a spot. I don't think it'll be a terrible season at all by any means for them, but I think just one place down. Next up, into 7th, a team that underachieved last season, particularly because of one injury to Jamie Vardy. So, of course, I'm talking about Leicester City. I think they will finish in 7th place this season, grabbing a European spot. I think, not having Jamie Vardy injured and having him fully fit is a big boost to them. Him and James Maddison, Yuri Tielemans and Didi. Yeah, they've got a very good squad, so I think they'll do well. They haven't really done anything significant in the transfer market, so I'm sure they probably will do a few things, but I think even without doing that, having Jamie Vardy as a signing, he's just that good. Even though he is aging, he's still managed to keep his top class performances inside of him. So I think they'll finish 7th. Okay, now into 6th, into the Europa League places. I think in 6th will be Manchester United. I know Ten Hag's there, he's doing his thing. Man United are going to improve. They beat us 4-0 in a pre-season friendly. But no, I think they're going to finish 6th again. However, I do not think at all that it will be as bad as last season. I think, even though they're finishing in the same place, I think their season will be tremendously improved. Where, last season, they were fighting to be in 6th, along with West Ham, and West Ham ended up 7th, and Man United could have finished 7th. However, I think this season, Man United will be involved in that top 4 battle, but they will miss out, and they will probably end up 6th, but they will be closer to the top 4 than to the 6th and 7th positions, or to the 7th position, and that's the battle they'll be in instead of the lower down battle. In terms of transfers, they've brought in Eriksson from Brentford, and they've also brought in Martinez from Ajax, and that's 2 good signings for them. They've lost, they've made sure to be selling a lot of, players who are never going to do much for them, so people like Cavani, Paul Pogba, a lot of other people, Mata, Matic, Jesse Lingard, loads and loads of people have been sold or let go for Manchester United during this window, which is definitely what they needed. They needed a complete rebuild, and I think we're definitely going to see that from them. But I reckon 6th place. On to 5th now. I think the 5th place team will be Arsenal. The same as last season. I think they'll be heavily involved in a top 4 fight, but I do think they will just miss out. I think Arsenal will look good in this next season. They've made a lot of good transfers. They're trying to become Brazil for some reason. They've signed people like Vieira, Jesus. I think they're signing Zinchenko from Man City. They're signing Marquinhos, but not the PSG one, a different one. They've sold players or let go players like Lacazette has left, a few others as well. But their squad's looking really good, and it's a nice young squad as well, which is a really good thing to have at this day and age. So I think they'll finish 5th and they'll have a good season, and I think they'll do well in the Europa League as well. I'm not sure how far, but I think they'll do well. On to 4th now, the Champions League positions. We're on to the Champions League positions, and for my 4th place team, I have gone for Chelsea. Yep, I know. Not what you expected. Well, maybe it was what you expected, I don't know. But I think Chelsea will have a little bit of a drop-off from last season. Not necessarily because of them getting worse, but because of another team I'll talk about in a second getting a lot better and having a really good season from what I think will happen in this coming up season. In terms of the transfers they've made, Chelsea they've made some good transfers actually. They've signed Raheem Sterling from Man City, and they've signed Koulibaly as well from Napoli. I think Napoli, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. and they have gotten rid of a few players. So Rudiger's left on a free. Romelu Lukaku has gone on loan back to Inter, which, yeah, absolutely needed to happen. That's very good for them. They've also sold, I think he's gone to Barcelona, Christensen as well. So a few players that weren't playing as much or weren't as good leaving. Obviously not Rudiger, but he had to leave on a free anyway. But yeah, some good signings as well. Koulibaly and Sterling. I think they'll have a really good season. I think they'll do well in the Champions League as usual. But I think they will just finish. I think they'll finish 4th. I think they'll be a top 4 fight, but I don't think it will be like terribly close. I don't think it will go down to the last game. I think they'll be pretty comfortably 4th. On to 3rd place now, and I've gone for, I'm sure you've guessed it, Tottenham Hotspur. I think Tottenham are going to finish 3rd place, because if you look at what they have done in the transfer market, it is brilliant. They've made some great transfers this season. I don't know who's doing this for them, but whatever they're doing, it's looking really good. So I think Tottenham fans, this is a really exciting season for you guys. You should look forward to this, enjoy this season, if it goes well, obviously. But yeah, I think it will go well. So they've signed a lot of players. They've signed Perisic, they've signed Richarlison, they've signed Bissouma, they've signed Longley, plenty of class players, and players that will be class under Conte's system and Conte's training as well. They have got rid of a few players as well. They've sold a few players as well. For example, Steven Bergwijn has left them. No one else like really major has left, but yeah, Bergwijn has left, and he's been good for them. Bergwijn, on like he's had like good moments, but yeah, he has left. But makes sense because they've signed a lot of players too. Okay, now on to 2nd place. Here we go. This is the major bit now. 2nd place, I have gone with Liverpool. Yeah, I know, sad. I support Liverpool. I haven't, unfortunately, backed us to get the 1st place and get the Premier League because, well, we'll talk about Man City in a second, but yeah. I think Liverpool, again, will be in that fight as we are most years. I think it will go down to the wire, maybe the last game, I don't know. But yeah, I think they're going to look really good this season, Liverpool. They've made some great signings. Darwin Núñez, Fabio Carvalho, just to name a few. Obviously, they have lost quite a few important players as well, like Sadio Mane's gone to Bayern Munich, Minamino, Divock Origi, Nico Williams, all these players have left Liverpool. But I do think we'll find a way like we always do. Salah's signed a contract, which is great. I'm sure he's going to have a great season. Yeah, I think we'll be involved in the fight, but I do think we will finish 2nd. So on to 1st place. Of course, it is Manchester City, the seemingly unbeatable team in the Premier League at the moment. I think they will finish 1st. And if you look at their transfers as well, like they're making some great transfers. Erling Haaland is the main one, obviously. Like Man City now have like a proper striker again. That's scary. And they've also signed Calvin Phillips from Leeds, I talked about earlier. They've let go a few players as well. Sterling has been sold to Chelsea, which is interesting, sold to a Premier League rival, but I think they'll be fine without him. Jesus as well. So that's 2 attacking players gone, but again, you bring in Erling Haaland, you're probably going to be fine. Fernandinho's left. I think Zinchenko's leaving as well. But yeah, Man City they're just too good, I think, to be beaten. Even if it's close, I just think they will last out and just about win the Premier League, unfortunately, for Liverpool and Liverpool fans. Well, there we have it. Those were my Premier League predictions for the 2022-23 season. Do you agree with me? Are there any clubs you completely disagree with me about? Let me know in the comment section down below. Unfortunately, my dad couldn't be in this video, but I did manage to convince him to give me a list of his predictions for the season. Although he did warn me that there was not much logic involved in his predictions, and there was just a lot of random names being picked. So bear that in mind when you see his questionable choices for a few. They'll be on screen along with mine at the end of the video. I think that is all from me. I've made an Instagram account for this YouTube channel, Red Hunter TV. So if you go to @RedHunterTV on Instagram, you can follow the Instagram account and get updates from me. It'll be great to connect with some of you guys. So yeah, make sure you do that. Make sure you like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next time.